the best way of utilizing these charts is to look at, can these players function individually, and can these players function as a team? Now there's another lens that we can look through, and that's the lens of global, local, global. When we stimulate the system in a global way, it's going to cue up the nervous system to its preferred strategy. That preferred strategy may be functional, appropriate, or not. And when it's not, that then gives us the opportunity to vet out all the individual components, who's playing and who's not playing. Whoever's not playing, let's get them back in the game again. Reinsert that into the global movement. How did that global movement change? Did it go from a dysfunctional movement to a functional movement? These charts give us a map of how to do that. Now, one of the things about these charts is that they are specifically tailored to the walking gait. Human locomotion is much more complex than just the walking gait. This then is a map for the walking gait, but it also then becomes a template. It becomes a template on how we can utilize this to look at other movements. For example, let's take swimming. Swimming, we have a movement, it's called the spear phase. The spear phase would be analogous to the deep longitudinal or the strike phase of the gait. But instead of the energy route moving from the posterior, from the foot up, it's moving anterior from the hand to the core or down. And so we want to take in consideration the movement paradigm that our clients are engaged in. What is their sport? First, we want to look at, do they have basic activation of these core subsystems and these kinetic chains? Then we want to get more specific to their activity. And that's going to require being creative. And so when I talked earlier about how these charts will have different layers that will reveal themselves, that's what I'm talking about when I say that it's a template. And the template that we're going to follow is, can we breathe? Can we absorb energy in movement or shock absorption? Can we turn that shock absorption into the dynamic stability needed so that we can store and release elastic energy? And with that template, we can look at how structure is responding to movement. That's not the whole picture, because we have our experiences, our associations, our emotions, our feelings that are also affecting movement. We also have physiological factors such as our endocrine system, how our organs are functioning, our vitamin mineral uptake and elimination, our lymphatic system, which is another one of those passive pumps systems in the body in which movement is the pump. And so If these kinetic chains don't have appropriate response and function, our lymphatic system is going to be impeded as well from that. And on the other side of that coin is, if we have a problem in one of the lymph junctions where lymph flow is impeded, it's going to affect our movement as well. And so these charts can become a map to look at the benchmark of movement, though there are other considerations that we want to take into our sphere of looking at how the body is moving and how we're responding to our environment. What's happening with our emotional environment? There's a very popular term that's called the social psychofactors that's related to pain, and how our psychology and our social circles and our support mechanisms and the experiences that we've had in our life and how we've had to adapt to those experiences, how those are affecting our pain response and our capacities. Now, movement is one of those ways that we can alter our capacity to respond to our environment. However, sometimes we have to first address another component before we can actually get to the movement. And you may have had this experience where you're working on a client and you're looking at how these muscles are functioning together, and yet there's something that's impeding you from getting a muscle or a function of movement to restore. And that's because it's not all structure. There are other factors.